So what did she do? She started back posting on the web, oh, there are lawsuits in Arkansas, and they are for a good reason. Yeah. Let's dwell on that good reason. The good reason will be explained in detail once I go over the history of what happened to our company and what happened over the years and the struggle we went through. But the good reason are the medical school in Arkansas has been trying to take over our project, take credit for it, and do what they usually do. University get a project because they really don't have any ideas of any kind, so they have to steal ideas from others, and in most cases, especially medicine. So they take out somebody else's idea, they make it their own, and that's what the medical school in Little Rock has been trying to do, even though there is evidence for years, plus the patent and everything else, and that shows, no, we were the ones when we contacted them the first time 23 years ago. It's been 23 years of this fight. It's ridiculous. So when they realized that they could not stop us, it was not going to happen, and that would interfere with their money coming in, all the millions for research that was never getting anywhere, then they decided to use dirty methods, and then they found somebody that would help them. We got a break coming up, and then we're going to discuss the history of events and why we are discussing it. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back after the break. And I guess the first question you would ask yourself is, why would I want to bother you and bore you with the history of what happened to LesMed Inc. over the last, this is year number 26 of the struggle. So why would I want to bother you with all of this? It's really, how does that affect in your lives? And why would you care? Well, actually, it's affecting everybody's life a lot. And that's why we are presenting it, because we want to show to you to what extent the medical establishment will go trying to maintain what is called the status quo, which means maintain the condition the way they are, not introduce any change, ignore the existence of progress, and going on, maintain the things the way they are, because that's extremely lucrative, and the only progress they allow. There is a new drug coming out. This drug can do this. This is the new miracle drug. And, of course, because of it and because of all the research is so expensive, but that is really a wonder thing, and you need to have this one, and it doesn't matter that you're financially ruined with that, even if you have insurance, but that is the best because that will keep you alive, which is another nonsense, but that's why. This is a conspiracy to maintain the things the way they are, not for the good of the public that is paying all the bill. No, it's for the good of a limited group of people on an organization like a good old boys group. They are all in it together. They're helping one another. That's what happens in the AMA. So I want you to be aware of what really happened to LesMed Inc. and the tragedy of all of this is that it had not fought us all these years. There would have been all the people that died in the last 25 years would not have died. Would have been okay, would not have suffered. And even the one that survived, it's not a real survivor. They call themselves, oh, I'm in remission, I'm a survivor. What kind of life is that? You're a survivor? And you're going on with the fear that the cancer could come back anytime, and when it does, you have to go through the same torture over again, and a second time you probably will not survive. So is the fear. You are not, that is not a life, you're not living, that you're not a person that can to use its full potential of its capability. You are not helping anything other than a group of people that are making a lot of money out of you. That is ridiculous, and it goes on and on and on for years. That's why we are trying to tell you the extent of the fight that we have been facing all these years and the extent of the effort that the group will put, the AMA and even the alternative practitioners in many cases, not all of them, but in many cases, the extent of effort they'll go to just stopping any change that can be good for you, but not, they feel that is not going to be good for them. So, long time ago, when I was still working for the defense industry, and I've always worked with lasers. I was accidentally introduced to a new kind of laser that is a much improved form of the standard traditional laser of the old days. And it's a semiconductor laser, but they have different characteristics, but has also tremendous advantage. And my working with weapon, I had interest in weapon, and at the time I was married. And by the way, just to mention that in answer to the idiots of the web that are not knowing anything about anybody's life, they come up and say, oh, well, her husband and his colleague did the research, but then they decided that wasn't worth, but she continued on. Okay. I am the scientist in the situation, and when I was married, at the time, my husband was my assistant. He was doing the lab work that I hate do. I hate doing lab work. And he was doing that. That's the history of the events. Colleagues, none. Okay. That being said, he was interested in weapons, and so the plan was a laser cannon, which of course went nowhere. The design went nowhere. Even we were developing with a very low budget, but it was a really good design. And of course now, with great amount of money, is apparently being developed. I don't know how long is that going to take, but it's being developed by one of the major defense contractor. It's the politics of things, and things take forever because that brings a lot of money for a lot of years. So that was lost, but accidentally, on a dare, we ended up stuck in the medical application, and I wish that had never happened, not because of anything. I know it's good for the public if I can finish this thing, but it certainly was not good for me, and not good for my life, and not a happy experience at all. But, so, for me, personally speaking, it would have been better if nobody had ever made any stupid comment about working and doing something good for humanity. So, but I ended up stuck in it, and the reason why I ended up stuck in it is, even though I'm a physicist and I love physics a lot more than what I'm doing right now, I really don't care for medicine, and I don't care talking to physicians because of their obtuse mentality, but I'm stuck in it. And the reason why I am is because I originally was not aware of how much people suffer. People suffer tremendously in the cancer mess. Once their footsteps into the cancer, there is a diagnosis. You are in unbelievable mess. You are in trouble for the rest of whatever your life is. It's just unbelievable. And I realized that was just obscene. I had no idea. I had never had any case up close that had anything to do with cancer, so I had no idea. And then all of a sudden I was hit. And when I read and found out about the things they were doing, my first reaction was, you gotta be kidding. That's impossible. Are you kidding? This is outrageous. Why do you want to torture people like that? And that doesn't solve anything anyway. That is the reason why I came into this. And what has happened is, over the years, we never got any significant investment of any kind, and we got insulted constantly by a group that didn't even want to understand or consider what we were saying. It has been a war nonstop. And when we eventually contacted the medical school in Little Rock, the reaction was, we cannot make any money with this. That's the reaction. Aside from the fact that they had no idea what laser could or could not do, and it was unbelievable. Anyway, but eventually they wrote a proposal, and the thing were progressing, so we could build the laser, we could do the testing and everything. As usual, though, what happens with university, and as usual what happens with the medical, in the end, they wanted control of everything. We were just being used and thrown away like slave or like technician, and that's it. And they were the expert, even though they didn't understand a thing of what we were saying, and they would have had to follow all of our advice on how to proceed. They were the expert to control everything that would happen. At that point, we said, forget you, we're not going to do it. And so we let the thing drop. From that point on, the medical school in Little Rock has been trying for years to copy what we're doing. They're not very successful with it, so they think that the answer is find out what we're doing. And that didn't work very well, as much as they are trying to corner me many, many times. It never worked. So what was the solution? The solution was to stop us from progressing in any way. And they were trouble trying for us, because in order to operate, especially in Arkansas, we had to have a physician, so take away the license of our physician with other excuses that had nothing to do with what we were doing, or another physician that was supposed to come from another state and give her the license with some stupid excuse. And then we found another doctor, and we thought it was okay, and as it turned out, it was a mole for the medical school. So that was not a good choice either. But anyway, we are having another break coming up, and we'll continue this horror story after the break. Thank you.